Yes, sir. Make sure you guys are subscribed to our YouTube channel. We're on the march to 500. All right, so make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button on our.
We're climbing.
We're climbing. Hit that like button on that last video on Voting Fans and drop a comment. Let us know what you think. As always, I'm here with my man Joel. What's up, brother?
What's going on, so?
I mean, a whole lot, but a whole lot of nothing at the same time.
Oh my God! Yeah, there's been a lot. There's been a lot and a whole lot of nothing.
Right, and
that's a good way to put it.
And bro, yeah, when you're able to see it from a 24 hours perspective, you get to realize a lot of the stuff that we witnessed earlier on in the season with this Dolphins team is starting to look very unfamiliar. Yeah, you got me there or what?
Whoa. Sorry.
Touching all the buttons, breaking
I'm just
shit.
pressing buttons at this point.
Big time.
That's because you got me flustered. Wow, we're just jumping right into this. We're just going straight Dolphins.
Straight to the Dolphins.
You're not even going to plug OnlyFans.
Nah.
We dropped yesterday right after the game. Available now on YouTube.
Right now.
You're not going to talk about, our weekend, how did I golf this weekend, any birdies.
No.
You're not going to ask me if I saw any cool movies or did I go to any ugly Christmas sweater parties.
Nope.
The people want to know, man. They want to know about our lives.
Dog. We can get to it, dog. And we will get to it. But, I feel like it's a very important topic that we have to touch on right now. You know what I mean? This loss
pissed you off.
This loss really pissed me off because, and I'm sure a lot of people are feeling the same way, not because we lost, in the manner that we lost, right? We didn't see any type of adjustments on the offense. We saw the defense, again, continue to bend until they break and not really make any type of plays in order to help themselves out. And we went from a couple of weeks ago, right, before the losing streak happened, we went from being one of these contender type teams. Everybody and their mom on ESPN said we were a Super Bowl contender when we knew that there were a lot of holes in this team, right? And there were a lot of gaps that needed to be filled. What we're seeing right now is the fruition of not, attempting even to fill in those gaps. Let's talk about the running game, right? Because this is one of my biggest things. We're getting exposed right now because teams already have 12 weeks of tape on us. Right. So they're able to see that we're not going to commit to the run. And if you're able to take that away from us, we're going to come out and start throwing the ball even more and even more and even more. Case in point, right? In yesterday's game, right, or Sunday night's game, we come out and the first 3 plays were pass plays.
Yeah.
Pass plays. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't be able to throw the ball or if take advantage of whatever the defense is giving us, right? But dog, let's establish our offense. We need to throw from the run, not run from the throw, because we don't work like that. And now we put ourselves in a situation where we're causing Tua to throw the ball more. The other team is expecting us to throw the ball more.
Sure. And
now they're rushing more, sending more blitz, covering more of the zone where we're trying to throw. And it just makes us look horrible, i.e. Tua.
For
3
me,
or 15.
For me, dog, it's just so frustrating because it's like, bro, I've gotten to the point now before when I was growing up, it was like, why would you run the ball? You didn't gain anything there. They just stacked the box. Why didn't you call an audible?
Right,
throw
you got
the ball?
1 yard.
Now, I'm more content, especially, early on in the game when you're trying to establish something, control of the clock, control of the ball. Run the ball, even if you don't gain shit and you only get to the line of scrimmage. Oh, well. But the way that our running backs run, we can see them break, through holes and pick up 6-7 yards, things that will move the chains if they're given the right opportunity.
For sure.
Talking stats, 11 carries for Raheem Mostert, 37 yards.
After Wilson went down is when he got the majority
of those carries. He got more of them, yeah.
Right?
But his longest run was 13 yards. Jeff Wilson's longest run was 20 yards. I think that was on the fumble. He had 4 carries, 26 yards.
Yeah. Run the ball.
That's over 6 yards a carry. Why aren't we giving these guys more opportunities? Collectively, between our 3 running backs and Tua, we had 19 rushes. Austin Eckler by himself had 15 rushes.
That's what I'm saying. This is the type of adjustment that if Mike McDaniel, right, can't see it himself, somebody in his staff has to raise their fucking hand at the meeting and say, yo, Mike, coach, hey, man, I get it. The offensive schemes look great on paper and they work out in practice, but we need to put in 15 or 20 carries between these two guys.
Well, now what do we do with Jeff Wilson going down.
Well,
now we got Salvin Ahmed and maybe Myles Gaskin.
Well, the good thing is
to back up Mostert.
Right. The good thing is that Coach came out and said that Wilson's injury wasn't as severe as they thought it would be.
Okay.
Right. So it's not bad. He doesn't need a boot, anything like that. Just needs some therapy and he needs to rest. Right. That's the best thing that he can do, which is okay. On a short week, maybe you don't want that guy to practice, especially if you knowingly have to go to Buffalo and the weather's going to be crappy and you're going to have to run the ball more than throw it.
And we say a short week because we're playing Saturday. If you're not aware, we're not playing this Sunday. We're playing this Saturday in Buffalo. So that's why we're referring to it as a short week. And it is a short week. It changes everything up, especially when you've been traveling for the last 2 weeks on the road, losing games. And now you got to go into a division rival in Buffalo in the cold and hope to turn things around with, a still banged up O-line, now potentially banged up, running back and a quarterback who hasn't really looked like he's looked the whole season in these last 2 games.
No, hell no. And then that's part of it too, right? Where again, in the beginning, it looks great because the offense is clicking. Teams don't really have the tapes on us. Like, it looks great, and we have that ability to bust coverages and find that happen. We saw it against the Chargers, right? Like, we connected on a deep pass to Tyreek Hill. A beautiful place pass. Yeah, the defender fell, but the ball was in a place where the defender was not going to be able to get it. His best defensive ability in that moment would have been to tackle Tyreek. Maybe he gets him, maybe he don't. He doesn't. And
there was a few other throws that we talked about on OnlyFans that Tua did throw really good balls, but the receiver just lost them in the lights or something. Like
the one to Waddle.
One to Waddle.
That's the biggest one in the fourth quarter.
One to Waddle late, but no, there was one earlier that was to Tyreek.
Yeah.
That could have been a touchdown. That Tyreek had him beat.
Yeah.
And if he sees that ball, it didn't look like he saw the ball. It wasn't near him.
At all.
So who knows if he sees that ball, what could have happened? I want to know. I'm curious to see what he has to say about that play.
And it's like we were talking about it pre-show, man. Where a lot of this offense, routes-wise, throwing-wise, is based on timing. Teams know now that they can just disrupt our timing by putting guys on the line of scrimmage and jamming our fast receivers.
Well, they got Tyreek hurt in the process.
They jammed
that aggressive defense they were playing all game.
Even when he was take off and there wasn't somebody in front of him, 2 yards into his route, a linebacker was checking him, throwing a shoulder into him, something to disrupt the timing. And then Tua, again, committed to the throw. It's like, well, the guy should be there. I'm going to put it there. Now they have to find a way to attack the outside. How do you attack the outside? Well, you need timing routes, right? You need explosive plays. You need space. You need the 1-2 drop. We
got to get guys like Cedric Wilson involved and Alec Ingold involved, and even our running backs out of the backfield.
And for real, what we need to do is come out and run the ball. Even if it happens like 2 runs and a pass and we don't get the first down, I'm okay with doing that because it at least gives the defense a threat to say, hey, this could really be a thing here that they can hurt us with because those guys in the backfield have that home run ability. We've seen it in Mostert. We've seen it in Jeff Wilson. Those guys can break out and get 40, 50, 60 yards. You know what I mean?
Here's my thing, man. My biggest issue is, if we're going to live by the sword and die by the sword, live by the three, die by the 3, right? We're going to live by the long ball, the deep ball, the home run ball. We're going to die by that. So we're going to, if we're going to do that game in and game out where we want to, we might not want him throwing the ball that many times, but Mike McDaniels wants him throwing the ball 30 to 40 to 50 times a game. Man, at the very least, give the guy a suitable check down player
option.
I understand that sometimes that check down player is picking up the blitz in certain situations and they can't get there. But I look at Patrick Mahomes, right? Mahomes, I don't know how many times he had Jerick McKinnon open this past weekend, just on a simple nothing was out there. Everything is covered. Just dump it off right in the middle of the field, pick up 3-4 yards, keep the chains moving. And we don't have that. There was a couple times where I saw a check down where he could have gone to Mostert and he either scrambled or threw it somewhere he shouldn't have been throwing it or got sacked ultimately.
For sure. I remember at least one throw where it was a 3rd down, a 3rd and 4, and he threw the deep ball on a post route to Jalen Waddle, who at that point had 0 catches and was not involved in the game at all. And in my mind, I'm like, why don't you just hit the dude for the 5 yards and let him battle for the first down? Maybe hit Waddle on the next one. That's the mentality that Tua, unfortunately, hasn't shown in these last 2 weeks.
Not in these two. Before that, but I can't discredit him because he was showing that prior to that.
I understand
that. The question is, why the regression?
Bingo. That's first and foremost. Second of all, in my opinion, right now, right, did we see the best of Tua? Did we see the absolute best of Tua and what he could be? I'm not saying yes or no, Joel.
It's rhetorical.
It's a rhetorical question.
I get it.
But we have to start asking ourselves that question as we watch these next 4 games and how they're going to play out in the season. Because Mike McDaniel should be asking himself that question. Am I the one messing him up with the play calling? Or is he the one messing up the play calling because we have this option available? He could have hit this guy. He could have hit that guy. We don't know. What I do know is this, that if this doesn't improve by this Saturday and we lose this game, I'm very, very skeptical of us making the playoffs after that, which is theoretically kind of crazy because we're already an 8-win team, but the 5 losses that we've now suffered have been ugly losses, except for the Niners loss. And then, we lose this game on Saturday, and it's a wrap. It's a wrap because mentally we're going to be defeated. Another 3-game losing streak, and now we're going to have to win these 3 games.
No, I'm going to disagree because we've technically we've been there, right? We've already had a 3-game losing streak, and we were able to turn it around. Granted, the 3-game losing streak was because we lost Tua, and when we got him back, it was an immediate injection into the system. But I think this game, in Buffalo, everybody expects the Dolphins to lose. We already beat Buffalo at home when they came down here.
Right.
The way that we're playing right now versus the way that they've been playing, they've been thugging out some wins. They haven't been pretty, but they've been they've been grinding some wins out, and they're number 1 right now in the division for a reason. So I think even if we lose this coming game, the important thing is going to be Tua's performance and Mike McDaniel's play calling that game. What do we do differently in this week that we haven't done against a Niners team, that we haven't been able to do against the Los Angeles Chargers team? What are we going to do differently against this Buffalo Bill team to be able to get something going offensively? Because when they're controlling the ball for 2/3 of the game,
we had
40 minutes to our 20 minutes. I mean, I'm actually very proud of the defense for only allowing 23 points.
I wouldn't go as far as that, right? To say I'm proud of the defense because
they had one bad quarter, really. 17 points lit up in the second quarter. Aside from that, the defense held it down the entire 2/3 of the game.
I'm not shitting on the defensive players individually, but as a unit and the play calling, the schemes, it's ass.
Yeah, that's your argument.
And it's not working. So you have these talented players in some key positions, but whatever it is that Boyer is doing, it is not working. And let me work my way back to this. I gotta strongly disagree with you, dog, because of the fact, Joel, dog, that we know who the elite teams are. We know who the good teams are. And we're gonna just keep it to the AFC, right? Because the NFC is a whole mix of itself in like a wild west type of way. But Buffalo and Kansas City are leagues above everybody else in the AFC. They're much better than the Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson. They're much better than Tennessee, right? Who's leading their division.
Tennessee's fraud.
Much better than Cincinnati, who I would think is another team that may be a fraud, right? Because they don't necessarily haven't been playing to the same level that they did last year, right? Then you have us. You have the Chargers, who we think are not a great team, right? So all of those teams that I just mentioned, including us, that just means that we're in a level below these guys. Can we hang with them on our best day? Absolutely. We can hang with anybody on our best day. We've seen it. My issue is that our best day doesn't happen every week. It happens here and every there. And maybe our defense gets a game for us. Maybe our offense wins a game for us, but complete performances. Those two teams, Buffalo and Kansas City, have had more complete performances, and their record shows it, than the rest of the teams in the AFC. So that just means that we're in the mix. We're a good team because we're not bad. We're not the Raiders. We're not the Browns. We're not the Pittsburgh. Those are, you can say, bad teams. We're not that. Are we a great team? No. We have a good team with a lot of potential, just like the rest of those teams, right? Cincinnati, they have a ton of potential on that team. Maybe Tennessee's the one real team that doesn't have as much potential because they let go of Brown, right? A wide receiver, and that loss has hurt them. And Tannehill hasn't been playing great. But other than that, they always have their reliable option, which is Derrick Henry. And they're able to do that. Baltimore, same thing. They always have a chance because they have Lamar Jackson. So those teams are good. They're not great. Buffalo and Kansas City, those are the two teams. And when we look at the end of the season and every point of the game, they're going to be like, yeah, dog, those are the great teams. Maybe the Dolphins can get there, but we need McDaniels to step up his game, right? We need Tua to step up his game in order for us to reach that level. Bro, when we look back at this season, Joel, we're going to look at it and be like, damn, dog, we could have had 9 games here, 10 games here, right? Because Tua got hurt, missed 3 games pretty much. And then we lost a whack game here. We're going to look back and regret a couple of these losses, dog. But it just shows me that we have the potential to be like them maybe next year, right? But this year, we heard a lot. That's why I had to bring it back a little bit. We heard a lot about Super Bowl talk, and maybe this team can get to a AFC Championship game. We're not there yet, and our holes have been exposed, and we need to know how to fix them. Maybe not immediately, but we do need big wins, and this Buffalo game is a big win. If we don't win Saturday, ooh.
So if we don't win this Saturday, is the Dolphin season a wrap? Are we looking at 2023?
I don't want to say it's a wrap, but we're putting our destiny in somebody else's hands. And that's a position where we found ourselves before. The
Chiefs are at 10-3,
right? You got
the Bills are 10-3,
correct,
and they own the division.
Right, they have the
Ravens are leading their division at 9-4.
Right,
the Bengals are also 9-4 in that division.
Correct.
So
I think they still got to play each other. One of those two
teams is going to be waiting, playing for. One of them's going to be a division, and then the other one's going to be a wild card.
Correct.
Then you got the
who theoretically might be ahead of us.
You got the AFC South. I mean, the Titans really are the only ones in contention there because they're leading their division. So then that leaves the Chargers still in the running for it. Every AFC team, AFC East team is still in the running for it.
Crazy.
I mean, honestly, man, if you ask me that, is a Dolphin season over? I'd say absolutely not. But at that point, I mean, we said that this Chargers game was a must win.
Yep.
We needed to win that because then why? Because now we're playing a little bit with house money. Now we're at 9 wins. Now going into Buffalo, it's like, all right, if we don't win this one, it's expected. Bingo bango.
Hey, we're 9-6. And we're in a good position in 3 games.
So now this Buffalo game is a must win. Can we win this game? Absolutely. If the Dolphins play the way that they played prior to these 2 last games,
facts.
How do they get it done? Frankly, I don't know. If I did, I'd probably be coaching in the NFL. But from a fan's perspective, McDaniel and Tua, they have a good relationship. It seems like he's been able to help him out, figure out what he's needed to be successful. And as of right now, my faith is in him. He's gonna know better than we do, bro. He's been able to bring the success, beat Buffalo once already. So I'm gonna leave it up to Mike McDaniel for right now. If one more performance, the way that it's been going with a healthy Tua and a somewhat healthy O-line and all your offensive, weapons for the most part, now I'm going to be questioning, all right, what's going to happen? But even still at that point, I think we can still win out the rest of the schedule facing the Steelers on Christmas Day.
For sure.
The Patriots after that and the Jets as well.
I'm going to say this, right? However the season scales out, right? Whether we make it to the playoffs or we don't, if you look at the season, you have to kind of say it's a success, right?
Yeah.
We found out a lot about ourselves. We found a lot about our offense, how good we can be. We found out how bad we can be, so we can kind of figure out like how to do more than the latter, right? But for this game, you lose this game, and it just breaks down the rest of the mentality. Like I said, you put your fate in somebody else's hands, and now you're powerless. So it makes every game even harder to go out there and do your thing. And to wrap it up on the Dolphins, for Mike McDaniel, I feel like this is the game that we hired you to win. The tough game on the road against a division opponent. This is why we hired you. You're a genius at the zone blocking for running. Great. We haven't really seen it come to fruition. If you're going to make your stamp in the NFL, dog, it has to be a game like this. Against a fucking tough ass opponent, a real Super Bowl contender, right, in the Buffalo Bills, and you go out there and you beat them in their own house, on the road, under terrible conditions, because you put your quarterback in a real position to do some damage, and you allow him to do that. But you got to give him the weapons to do so, or the ability to do so. I'm looking at this game as a complete, like, season tilting game. We lose. Now we're 8-6 in the mix to battle, to maybe get to maybe host a wild card game. Like, that's the stuff that we're battling for here.
Yeah, and then at that point, if the Jets win next week, then we're tied record wise.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's been the name of the game this whole season. Keep the pace. Keep winning, because everybody else is having big victories. We need our big victory. We need our statement victory, and it has to be this one. I will go ahead and say I'm going to pick the Dolphins, dog. What was our last week's prediction?
Well, we picked, what did I say? I said Dolphins 27, Chargers 21.
Okay.
We needed to score. Like, we needed to
that would have been it.
Score, and that's the win.
That would have been it.
Pretty much. And then you had Dolphins 24, Chargers 14.
Look at that. We should have stuffed them, dog. We gave up that fucking touchdown right before the first half, and it pissed me off, dog. For this Buffalo game, I'm hoping that it's a dirty game. I'm hoping that it's super windy. I hope that both quarterbacks make a bunch of mistakes, and it really comes down to kickers being better. And I hope Jason Sanders kicks a 55-yarder to win this game.
Wow.
I'm going to say 24-21.
On his shoulders, but
that's what I'm going to say. 24-21.
24-21 for the Dolphins. I'm also going to say the Dolphins are going to win this game in Buffalo. I'm going to say that. I'm going to say this.
Those were crazy. Dolphins winning in Buffalo in December, dog.
We're going to win. We're going to win. And the score is coming to me right now. So I'm channeling my inner Dan Marino.
Go ahead.
I'm thinking we're going to win this game 26-15.
Okay. 26. That's an odd number. But fuck, it's dope. 26-15.
Write that down.
Yeah, for sure. Put it on a piece of paper. Don't crumble it. I don't have my paper.
You told me that like 10 minutes after I crumbled it.
I got it.
We got it. Don't worry. We'll hear it back. The 22nd minute mark.
Yeah, we got it. And you know what? Make sure to tune in to our YouTube channel, where I'm going to be interviewing our homeboy, Victor Bermudez, and we're going to be previewing the Bills game for this Saturday. It's going to be available only on our YouTube channel, at Sports with SoSo on YouTube. Check it out. Subscribe if you haven't already. And shout out to Vic, man, and his Buffalo Bills. They're keeping the pace.